The Kansas City Chiefs hold a significant edge over the Buffalo Bills, and I know some of you might not agree with me just yet. But in this video, I'll share some key facts that show why the Chiefs have the upper hand. First, let's talk about Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. They've won 8 consecutive playoff games, which is the third longest streak in NFL history. Mahomes will need to beat a familiar foe to make it 9. Both of these teams are strong, no doubt about it. They have great players on both sides of the ball, and both are well coached. But when it comes to the playoffs, the Chiefs have gotten the better of the Bills. In the regular season, the Bills have had some success, especially in close games. Josh Allen is 4-1 against the Chiefs in the regular season, with a game-winning 26-yard touchdown run on 4th down in Week 11 that ended the Chiefs' undefeated streak. But when it matters most, the postseason, Mahomes is 3-0 against Allen and the Bills. One of the most unforgettable wins was in the 2021 divisional round, where Mahomes led a 13-second drive in the fourth quarter to tie the game, then went on to win in overtime. Mahomes enters Sunday's game tied for the second most postseason wins by a starting quarterback, with 5 playoff touchdown passes and 5,312 postseason yards. It's clear the Chiefs have the advantage with their quarterback. As talented as Josh Allen is, Patrick Mahomes is simply on another level. Mahomes has 918 passing yards, 8 touchdowns, and no interceptions in just 3 playoff games against the Bills. You can bet Allen will give it his all, but Mahomes' track record speaks for itself. Patrick Mahomes always seems to find a way to raise his game. But now, let's shift focus to another key factor: DeAndre Hopkins. His performance could play a huge role in the Chiefs' game against the Buffalo Bills, and that could spell trouble for Buffalo. One of the biggest challenges for Mahomes and the Chiefs' offense is making sure they get the ball to Hopkins. In their Week 11 loss to Buffalo, Hopkins only had 3 catches for 29 yards. And if you go back to the divisional round against the Texans, he was shut out with 0 catches. In fact, Xavier Worthy was the only Chiefs wide receiver to catch a ball in that game. But that was a different game plan against the Texans. The Chiefs didn't have to give everything they had in that matchup, knowing they'd be able to coast through. But things will be different against the Buffalo Bills. Andy Reid knows they need to pull out all the stops for this one. Hopkins, a 5-time Pro Bowler, is in his 12th NFL season and has never played in an AFC Championship game until now. He's been a big part of the Chiefs' offense this season, with 41 receptions, 437 yards, and 4 touchdowns in just 10 regular season games with Kansas City. We know Hopkins has great hands and a massive catch radius, which is why the Chiefs traded for him in the first place. Here's what Hopkins had to say about the chance to reach the Super Bowl. As a kid, I always played Madden and tried to win a Super Bowl in the game. It's a lifelong goal. Sunday's game is huge for Hopkins. It could be the biggest of his career, setting him up for the next biggest, the Super Bowl. Meanwhile, Andy Reid and Mahomes are no strangers to big games. They've led the Chiefs to the AFC Championship game for 7 straight seasons, proving they know how to handle the pressure. A 3rd consecutive Super Bowl appearance for the Chiefs will require them to beat a team they know inside and out, the Buffalo Bills. And that's another advantage for Kansas City. They simply have more experience. Now, I'm not saying the Bills lack experience. They've definitely got some. But when it comes to coaching and big game moments, the Chiefs have the edge. 7 straight AFC Championship appearances is a huge deal. The Chiefs have already taken 2 losses in those games, but I don't see it happening again this year. They're not losing another AFC Championship. Not this time. So it's safe to say the experience advantage belongs to Kansas City. Now let's talk about another area where the Chiefs have the upper hand: coaching. Andy Reid has shown he's the better coach compared to Buffalo's Sean McDermott. There's no real debate about that. But there's more to this matchup. I've already talked about Mahomes and the coaching, but let's dive into something I haven't touched on yet: defense. A few years ago, the Bills were known for their incredible defense. Players like Trey White, Jordan Poyer, and Micah Hyde made them a terrifying unit. But now, it's the Chiefs who have one of the most frightening defenses in the league. There's really no weak spot on Kansas City's defense that the Bills can exploit. Sure, the Bills might find some success in certain areas, but they won't be able to take advantage of any major weaknesses. The defensive line, led by Chris Jones, is a force. And with the rise of George Karlaftis as a pass rusher, things are even more intimidating for opposing offenses. The linebacking duo of Nick Bolton and Drew Tranquil makes it even harder to run the ball, and that's before we even talk about the secondary. Players like Trent McDuffie, Justin Reed, Jalen Watson, and Jalen Hicks are all ball hawks who excel at defending the pass. It's easy to see why teams have had trouble against the Chiefs. They're ranked 12th in the NFL for passing touchdowns allowed, 10th for rushing touchdowns, and 14th for first downs allowed. They're also 12th in average starting position for opponents. Now, these numbers alone might not seem like much, but when you put them all together, it's clear that the Chiefs' defense is a top force in the league. They've made it difficult for opponents to score big plays all season long. If you take away the Bills' ability to make explosive plays, it's going to be a grind of a game. And we all know how the Chiefs handle those gritty games. They win them. Now let's go back to coaching. Just one more time. I've already talked about Andy Reid, but it's more than just the experience he brings. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and Chris Jones are all incredible players, but none of their success would be possible without the leadership of Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo. It's not just about their experience. It's about how they adapt and reinvent their game plans on the fly to overcome challenges. That's what makes this Chiefs team so dangerous. One of the Chiefs' most underrated skills is their ability to adjust in the second half. They completely change up their strategy, which often leads them to victory. This season, Patrick Mahomes has set a career high with 5 fourth-quarter comeback wins and another career high with 7 game-winning drives. It's been a tough season at times, but Andy Reid has managed to coach this team out of some tricky situations. The Chiefs can always find a way to steal a win. It doesn't matter what happens in the first half because they know how to change things up after the break. And when we talk about Mahomes, he's still Patrick Mahomes. Despite the critics, despite the struggles, he's proven that he's still one of the best in the game. He lost his top 2 receivers early in the season, but he still found a way to adjust, leading the Chiefs to a 15-2 record and now back in the AFC Championship. No matter how much people doubt him, Patrick Mahomes is still the best quarterback in the NFL, and he's about to prove that once again. I just want to say that Kareem Hunt is the X factor in this game. He's someone we really need to watch out for. The Chiefs have been looking for their running identity this season, and injuries have held Isaiah Pacheco back. Without Kareem Hunt, I'm not sure if we'd even be in the AFC Championship. Signing him was a big move, no doubt. In the Week 11 game against Buffalo, Hunt ran 14 times for 60 yards, constantly setting up productive plays on first downs. So, here's what we need to do. Hand the ball off to Kareem Hunt on first downs and let him eat. That's the key. Now, if I had to choose an X factor on defense, it would be Drew Tranquil. He's going to have to step up and stop the run. Last time we played the Bills, they ran the ball 31 times for 104 yards and 3 touchdowns. That was a nightmare game for Tranquil. He missed tackles on James Cook's 2 touchdown runs and was out of position on Josh Allen's 26-yard scramble. But I'm expecting a big bounce-back game from him. He won't make the same mistakes again, and we have to lock down their run game. If they run the ball effectively, we'll lose. We have to force Josh Allen to pass. That's why scoring first is crucial. Getting into an early lead is huge, and honestly, I'd argue that whoever scores first will win this game. But even if the Bills score first, we're still winning. That's the confidence I have.